U.S. President Donald Trump is meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska today.
Yeah, this is pretty high stakes. Joining us live now with more on this crucial summit, CTV News U.S. political analyst Eric Ham. Eric, appreciate your time this morning. Okay, the stakes couldn't be higher, but the stakes are really high for Ukraine, not at the table.
Yeah, that's right. And already we're seeing that President Trump has already begun to move in terms of expectations and also follow-up, saying that now there's going to be a second meeting where Ukraine will actually be at the table and possibly European leaders as well.
Okay, and Eric, maybe paint us a timeline of this kind of tumultuous relationship between Putin and Trump. It seems to be an on-again, off-again bromance.
Actually, we've been hearing a lot of that, but I don't think this is an on again, off again. I think it's on again, and it's always on, because we saw Donald Trump actually threaten recriminations and sanctions if Russia did not come to the table with a ceasefire. That deadline came and went, and actually what came out of it was a meeting between these two leaders on American soil. So clearly what we're seeing here is Donald Trump is continuing to bend over backwards for American antagonists while continuing to treat friends and allies like Canada in very different terms. And so I think what we're seeing here is the president still continuing to show and treat the Russian dictator with kid gloves, which is why you saw European leaders take the unprecedented step of actually meeting with Donald Trump in the lead up to this summit.
Yeah, Eric, we're kind of living in this topsy-turvy Trump world at this point. Are there any risks for Trump here? Because, I mean, his MAGA base just seems so behind him, regardless of what he does, that a sit down with Putin sort of seems okay to them. But to a lot of other, observers, they're kind of saying, hey, like you said, you're kind of don't look as strong as perhaps you think you do.
Well, I think there is growing concern that Donald Trump is so desperate to actually get a deal that he's willing to give up so much and get nothing in return. And what we're seeing, quite frankly, is Russia's positions on a ceasefire has always been clear, that they want to keep the territory that they have gained throughout this war. They want Ukraine to end their NATO ambitions, and they don't want Ukraine to be as close to Europe. And so what we're seeing here is Vladimir Putin continues to say what he wants, and Donald Trump, at least until Monday, when Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky shot back, was actually prepared to actually address many of these land swaps in this meeting. And so I think what we're seeing here is there's still a lot of consternation of what Donald Trump is prepared to actually give up. And more importantly, what is he prepared to get in return, which is likely nothing. And so there is a lot on the line for the president, who always has billed himself as an expert negotiator.
And who can forget that embarrassing meeting between Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House? Hopefully round two won't be like that, but we'll pay close attention to it. CTV News' U.S. political analyst Eric Ham joining us live. Thank you.